The governorship standard bearer of the Social Democratic Party in Abia State in the 2023 general elections, Dr. Ngozika Johnson Ogbuneke has expressed her willingness to change the political landscape of the state. She noted that her coming into politics is born out of the love she has for the people of Abia State. She also challenged all politicians in the state and across Nigeria to take a cue from her to address the plight of the people against taking advantage of their trust, which, according to her, many politicians are known for. Joining us to discuss her aspirations and project for Abia State is the governorship candidate of the Social Democratic Party in the state, Dr. Ngozika Johnson Ogbuneke. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you on Newsday with us this afternoon.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon too.
Good afternoon. So I'm tempted to ask you questions along the lines of female representation within the political sphere. But let me first get into the electioneering process. It seems you were able to scale through your primaries, and now you are here as the governorship candidate for your party. I wonder what sense of confidence you have in the electoral system, particularly INEC, as we have just gotten reports about last week about some discrepancies within INEC and the register. Also, the Ikenga-led report that was issued by the CUPP, of course, fingering a few issues in Imo State in regards to the register. Do you think INEC has the capability to take on this huge task in a free, fair, and credible way in order for 2023 to be smooth for all concerned? What are your thoughts there?
Thank you so very much. I really think that INEC is equal to the task. Although everything is not yet perfect with INEC, it's a working process. But let us appreciate the good that has come out from what INEC has done so far. Now, with the provisions of electoral law reformation, that is how persons like me could take an advantage and come in to be a party bearer, flag bearer of the Social Democratic Party by thinking about gender equality in civil politics in Nigeria, and also the political parties, making concessions so that women could also be given a chance to run for offices. So that is a positive thing on the first part of what you have said. Now, concerning this issue about problems with regulations in Imo State, one cannot 100% say that everything about it is wrong without looking at the evidence and the materials of evidence that is before INEC. But it is my belief that with the beavers and all the other regulations and updates that INEC have done, they are equal to actually carrying out a fair and a full electioning process in Nigeria come year 2023. Thank you.
Well, let's talk about your candidacy for governor in Abia State. Your party, the SDP, as we know, is not one of the prominent political parties. And when I say prominent, I'm talking of parties like PDP and APC. Most people are more familiar with such parties than the SDP. But we know that election campaigns will begin in a matter of days. So tell us how you plan to sell your candidacy to the people of Abia State. What do you bring to the table? What can they expect from you if you do eventually become governor of the state?
I thank you for your concerns, but I must say that since May, June 2022, the Social Democratic Party has reawakened and has been reawakened in Abia State. Yes, there are other parties that people think about as the big names, the PDP, the APC. But the performance and the track record of the previous governors that came out from these political parties in Abia State have actually given the electorate much apathy against these political parties. So that Social Democratic Party, upon my coming out to be the aspirant of the governorship position and then emerging as the SDP candidate for the governorship post, they are moved, and they have also moved more towards the Social Democratic Party more than APC and PDP. Yes, I do acknowledge that because that the other two parties have been in government, so they have a few advantages about a few laws that they make about where to use, spaces to use, and restrictions of what to use. But I'm equal and very positive towards that because someone can always improvise. And the people of Abia State are looking for a change, not a change of any change, but a positive change, so that not only somebody, because I'm a woman, coming up to be the candidate or to be the next governor, but somebody who is more capable, somebody whose heart is towards serving the people of Abia State. And when you look at the policies of the Social Democratic Party, we are aiming to bear the social burdens of the people of Abia State. We're aiming to bring hope to the people of Abia State. So they are no longer going to vote as it was before in the names of party. No, they are looking at the candidacy. They are looking at integrity. They are looking at courage. And they are also looking at competence. So my track record speaks for me. And also my desire to serve the people of Abia State also encourages them to think towards Social Democratic Party. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Ngozika, we know that politics is a very, it's a bit of a dirty and dangerous affair. We see reports in the news of violence, and sometimes against candidates like yourself, seeing that you're a woman entering this male-dominated space. Can you tell us about how you plan on using your position to get other women to be inspired and get into positions similarly, and how you plan to combat any stereotypes that might come with being a female, especially within the Abia State gubernatorial space?
Thank you. As a matter of fact, by my coming out to be the governorship candidate for SDP, for Abia State under the SDP, I have become an encouragement to some of those other political parties. Like the APC, they have named a woman for the first time in their history to be the deputy governor for Abia State. So some other parties have also emulated the idea in order to encourage more women to come up in the forefront. So if you may ask me, the Social Democratic Party has shown itself to be a pace setter in being an inclusive party where they're bridging the gender equity and to bring women folk. Now, on my own side, personally, it's been a lot of excitement from the women folk and from the youths in Abia State. I'm so overwhelmed and grateful for the support I'm getting. I'm getting a lot of support from women in Eluama, in Isukwato, where I'm married to, women in Ovim, in Ahaba, women from Aba, the traders, the small trading organizations. So a lot of women are coming up under my platform in order to encourage me and to tell me that they are going to support my candidacy. And not only the women, I'm also encouraged by a lot of men from Ohafia, from Arochukwu, and from Okwa East, Okwa West, and Aba area. So if you may have a feedback, it's like a round turning of the clock in order to tell Abia State that it is time to allow a woman to come up and also bear the post as the governor. So it's been an encouragement, and I like it.
Dr. Ogbuneke, very well said. But I'd like you to give specific details on how you boost security in Abia State, which is one of the states in the southeast geographical zone of Nigeria facing severe security challenges. Can you please talk to us on that?
Yes, I know there's a lot of concern about insecurity in the southeast, and also a lot of concerns about ESN, about unknown gunmen, and also at times people are involving the IPOB. And being a medical doctor, there are three main processes in order to deal with any problem. You first of all identify what is the problem? And then you make a diagnostics of what the problem is. Then you carry out some investigations to really find out how to tackle the problem. Then you come out as offering a protocol about your plan in order to solve this problem. So this thought process has been very helpful to me. I'm also a keen orthopedic researcher, and when you are doing investigative process, you do the same thing. There is a need for Abia State to appreciate that getting things done in the community has to be by process of peace and order, the process of dialogue, of communication, because nothing much is achieved by violence. So on coming up to be the next governor of Abia State, I want to tackle the problem of insecurity and disorder by reaching a social contract with the people of Abia State, so that people should be encouraged, number one, to go about their normal processes in a civil manner, peacefully. And then in the areas where people are already agitating and people are angry about their circumstances, there's also a need to dialogue, to speak and find areas of those leaders where there are insecurities. The ESN, the unknown gunmen, whether they are masked or not, they have leaders, and people in the community know them. So following intelligence, security intelligence, then you will be able to identify these leaders. You'll be able to identify their comradeship and address their concerns. One thing I want to talk about the Southeast and why there's a lot of insecurity there. The youths are not engaged in their own activity. And a lot of the blame will always trickle down that it is from the federal government of Nigeria. I'm coming up to run and to become the next governor of Abia State, to encourage the youth to disengage themselves from any acts of violence. And being a governor, to make sure that there's infrastructure, good roads, community industries, as well as companies, so that employable youth could be engaged to working. And when you are satisfied in your daily activities, when you are satisfied with the work you are doing, you have less time for violence. So violence begets violence because of idleness, because people are not happy, because people are not feeling that they are part of Abia State, let alone being part of Nigeria. So when you tackle these problems and put in place structures in order to get people becoming part of their communities, working for the greater good, you'll find out that nobody will have time to engage in any form of violence anymore. There will be peace, there will be order, then economy can grow. Then market, commerce, and industry will also thrive. And then when these things happen, I can sit back and then begin to invest and attract international and foreign investors into Abia State. So people are running around looking for visa to travel, to run away from Nigeria, to run away from Abia State for greener pastures somewhere else. In the places that they are trying to go, they have only about 5 or 6 months of sunlight for the year. But here in Nigeria, in Abia State, we have sunlight for 12 months of the year. So why are you running away? Instead, let there be security, let there be peace and order, and we can grow more food, and we will thrive better. So that is what I intend to tackle. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Ngozika. I want to speak more on a broader political sphere and play devil's advocate just for a moment on the role of governors within our democracy and our polity, and whether or not it is being used towards the good of the people that they serve, or whether it's self-interest. And I want to read you a comment from the former Speaker of the House of Reps, Alhaji Gali Umar Naba. He faulted particularly governors for the crises, the many crises that are rocking our Nigerian political system right now. And he says it is due to undue influence on behalf of the governors. It seems governors wield a lot of power and often misuse it. Can you give some comments on how that can be rectified, or whether or not you think that's true?
Thank you so very much. I'm keen to agree with this gentleman, Speaker, because as part of my promise to Abia State in my detailed manifesto, I'm going to be the #1 citizen of Abia State. I am coming to serve the people of Abia State, not to be served. If there is a need for people to change their mentality and their thoughts, to know that coming into political office, you are not coming to become a lord over the people that voted you in. You are not coming to be served, to go around with 15 cars following you up and down, to go about taking people's properties or making use of the public fund as if it is your own personal funding. No, you are coming for service. You are coming to serve humanity. You are coming to serve the people. The government of any community should be next to God, because everybody has a concept of God. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're an atheist, whether you're a Hindu, everybody believes in a divinity that could provide things for them, that could help make things good for them. And in the absence or in the secondary to God, government should be next. Government is not a process that should be adding burden, hardship, poverty, insecurity, thuggery in the lives of people. Abia State is 31 years old, but I sit here to tell you that Abia State is like a glorified village. I could very well be content in where I am, but I'm not, because Abia State ultimately is my fatherland. Nigeria is home. And I cannot sit back and watch the children in the street being homeless. Their schools and education not working. There's no computers. The roofs in the schools are all blown off by wind. And there is no trade. People are hungry. And then you still come around to say you are a governor. No. There is a need for every elected member of the Nigerian polity to appreciate the need to serve the people, not only the governors. Yes, heavily the governors, but let us know that we're coming to serve our people. We're coming to bring enablement in their own lives so that they can live more fulfilled lives. Many of the elected politicians take their time and travel overseas to England, to the US, to other European countries. And I challenge them every time I speak to please remember that what they have gone there to enjoy are the fruits of the labor of other politicians. Those things have not been created by God ab initio. They have been done because politicians there work, because politicians there are serving the communities. The politicians are not there using the public money as their own personal money to enrich themselves and their family. That is what I'm coming around to do.
Well, Dr. Ngozika, you have spoken so well. And you talked about challenging our politicians. You also challenged all gubernatorial candidates to declare their assets as a way to sanitize the rot in the system, yes, and position Abia to greatness. So I want to ask you very briefly, will you be taking up this challenge yourself and declaring your assets even before the elections?
I have received a few notices from Abia State stakeholders that they are going to organize public debates and discussion and conversation for all the candidates of Abia State's governorship race. I welcome that. And if by the time they organize this forum and the other politicians have not responded, then I will declare my own assets. Because what I desire for Abia State people to appreciate is that somebody having a very wide spending spree because of election is actually mortgaging the treasury of Abia State, the treasury of any state in Nigeria, the treasury of Nigeria as a whole, down to their own selves. Because by the time they win the elections, they are using the money of the state to pay off all the loans they have received. But I don't have any godfather for this electioning. I don't have any godmother. Nobody is financing my electioning campaign. By God's grace, I'm doing my best in it. So that when I come out, God's willing, as the next governor of Abia State will have their money being used on themselves, being used in the state. So it is now time for them to choose. You know, like they say in the Bible, choose for you which God will you serve, the God of the dance or the God that will take good care of you. So I use the same word and I challenge every person who is an electorate in Nigeria. Choose who do you want to be your next president? Who do you want to be your next governor? Is it the person who is spending so much money and at the end, they will not do anything in the next 4 to 6 years or 8 years? Or will you choose somebody who is being careful, who is bringing sensitivity into politics so that the spending will be reasonable, so that Abia State people will have a chance to have the monies allocated for them used for the state? Thank you.
Well, for joining us this afternoon and for all your input, thank you so much, Abia State gubernatorial candidate, Dr. Ngozika Johnson Ogbuneke. Thank you.